Thank you so much for joining us, even though it's not, within a good news. Murder went up by 20.7% between July and September. Are we losing the battle against crime in this country?
Yes, absolutely. I think we are facing very serious challenges in terms of violent crime in South Africa. Specifically, if we look at something like rape in the country, I think what's very concerning before we delve into the stats is the fact that we learned today that 3 children get murdered per day in South Africa. And since January 2021 up until September 2021, 250 women get raped every single day in South Africa. Very, very worrying statistics.
So what needs to happen now? I mean, depending on who you speak to, we're told that we should start looking at the SAPS. Do we have the right people on the ground actually, combating crime? And then we are told again, society needs to change. I know I see in your statement, you're saying that the pandemic of GBVF in our country has become a human rights violation. So where do we begin, to start addressing this crisis?
Yeah, so I think there's several points that we need to consider. I think the first point that we really need to look at is the fact that we don't have good leadership in the South African Police Service at the moment. We can start with Minister Cele. He was sacked from the police for corruption or involvement in dodgy deals during his time as the National Commissioner. And now he's the Minister of Police. If we look at General Kekla Sithole, he is on the brink of being suspended also for corruption and defeating the ends of justice for withholding evidence from IPID. And so the list goes on. So unfortunately, when we look at SAP's leadership, it is very broken at the moment. And we've got serious concerns in terms of merit appointments. It really seems that we've got a large amount of cadre deployments happening inside the South African Police Service. And that's obviously influencing the work we see on ground level. I think a further issue is the way that finances get spent. We have large amounts of money, a large part of the South African Police Service's budget going on civil claims against the police that they have to pay back to victims or on legal fees, etc. And then lastly, I think we've got a serious concerns in terms of something like the gender-based violence issue when we look at something like the DNA backlog. We heard today that it's 95,000 cases backlog at the moment. That's almost 400,000 pieces of evidence that we are behind. I can't see that being resolved within the next year. And every day that we lose is a day that a victim is denied justice.
So when you start looking at that DNA backlog of 95,000, I mean, that's a staggering number in itself, and you hear these crime stats that have been released today. A lot of questions around just can we believe that these numbers are actually accurate? Over or nearly 10,000 cases, rape cases, have been opened in just the space of 3 months from July to September 2021. Can we even start to, believe these statistics that are being released today? I mean, is there a system that is capable of recording just what is truly happening in our society at the moment as it relates to crime?
Natia, I think you're asking a crucial question when you said that. I think let's start with rape specifically. It's important to understand that only 1 in 9 rapes are actually reported in South Africa. So this is the bare minimum of cases that we actually know of. So it is incredibly worrying to see the rape statistic going up so much. And we must understand that the socioeconomic circumstances in South Africa will further cause further deterioration in terms of socioeconomic issues on ground level, especially between people. So we can expect more violence, more rape, etc. And the fact that justice is being denied through the terrible service that we're seeing from the South African Police Service, whether it comes with the DNA processing or other challenges, there is a serious issue. We've got a conviction rate of far less than 10% when we look at gender-based violence issues. And we see in many cases that, especially with women, they are turned away from police stations often being told to go and sort out the problem with their husband or boyfriend or partner, and this is not a criminal offense. We also see incidents being downplayed where women are told to open assault cases instead of, for example, a rape or sexual assault case. So we very often see that it's watered down, and obviously that adds to further worry. But 1 in 9 cases that is reported, and we already have 10,000 cases that you just spoke of, we've got a serious cause for concern. And at the moment, it honestly just feels like lip service. We see these comments being made by whether it's Minister Cele or the president about GBV, but we don't see any real action on ground level. In fact, it's just getting worse.
I mean, just last week we were told that over 600 children between the ages of 10 and 12, I think, were pregnant. I mean, this is tantamount to rape. We heard, the minister not too long ago when he was releasing the statistics, saying some of these violent incidences happened in the confines of the home. So as society, where are we going wrong? Because, I mean, I'm a black woman speaking to you now. I know a lot of women that are afraid to live in this country. So we are aware of these things that are happening. As society, how do we then take back the power?
Yeah, so I think it's important that you mention yourself being a woman, because in many of the cases where we have spoken with victims, especially female victims, that they are also told very often that they are intimidated and that they are told not to say anything. Should they say anything or report what happened to them, they will be killed. And just last week, I spent some time in Lavender Hill in the Cape Flats, and there it's exactly the same thing. Many women are terrified of speaking up, children too, and for that reason, we very often see that these cases are not reported. Obviously, when it comes to sexual offences, we're seeing an increase, an annual, actually quarterly increase at the moment. And I think children are at serious threat in South Africa. We don't know about the most cases that are happening, and we can expect more in the coming months.
All right, Ian, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I really do appreciate it. Ian Cameron there from Action Society, just reacting to those latest crime statistics. 20.7% murder went up between July and September of 2021. Well, let's continue here now. Power utility Eskom claims it has found evidence of sabotage at its Letabo power station in the Free State. Chief Executive Officer Andre de Ruyter has told the media that they found supports attached to a small pylon carrying power lines that feed electricity to the power station's overland coal conveyor were cut. Now,